Dungeons and Dragons, Adventures in Forgotten Realms. I tried to warn people. I never did too many spoilers on this set. I wasn't too excited about it. I was excited for Modern Horizons 2, which is doing fairly well on the secondary market. The prices have stabilized. Some of them have been going up. The boxes are actually doing pretty well. Its EV is really good for Modern Horizons 2. EV, on the other hand, for Dungeons and Dragons, not very good. TCG low for a booster box, about $56. And its market is 84, which I think is actually a bit inflated based on all the movement that I've been seeing in the market. My market mover videos are a pretty good indicator of what where the interest is. It's all based on percentage gains, which ones have moved the most. And, you know, Dungeons and Dragons cards haven't really been on the list much. They have been on the list for the losers section, but not a lot of movement on the winner section. And usually after pre-release, a lot of the cards go down, and then the release weekend, that's when a few cards start to see nice gains when there's interest in them, but there doesn't really seem to be much interest. And I like to compare the set potentially to Dragon's Maze, because Dragon's Maze was a set that crushed local game stores. It was a set that was perceived very poorly by, you know, the secondary market, the players, the collectors, you know, especially off the backs of Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash, which were great sets. You know, they were overprinted, but fantastic sets. Dragon's Maze just kind of fell flat. Now, Dragon's Maze is not a core set, which is actually what the Adventures in Forgotten Realm is supposed to actually replace as a core set. Core sets historically don't do well. Looks like Adventures in Forgotten Realms is going to be following that exact trend. Unfortunately, unlike core sets where you actually had a good understanding of what type of mechanics, what kind of cards were going to be in there, because they've, you know, they're pretty old. Core sets go back years and years, decades. But when you look at Adventures of Forgotten Realm, this is a completely new thing. This is the first time they've ever done any new IP product. You know, it is their own intellectual property, Dungeons and Dragons, so it makes it a little easier. But if this is what we're looking for moving forward, this is not looking good at all. You know, like they have so many other IPs that they want to branch with, and, you know, if they're going to do sets like this that don't have, you know, a lot of interest from players, and so let's go through what people didn't like about the set. Okay, so people didn't like the showcase cards. That's one of the things that it's getting a lot of heat for. The dice rolling in the game, they think there's too much dice rolling. Sure, okay. And also the fact that the power level is just not quite there, especially for what we've been used to in Standard. Not that I'm a fan of that. I think that the power level in Standard has led to a lot of bans like Oko Uro and stuff like that, and I think they should keep a cap on that power level. But, you know, that's why they have sets like Modern Horizons 2, where they can just print more powerful cards that can go directly into, you know, formats like Legacy or even, you know, Modern. But when it comes to Standard, they kind of want to keep it for Standard play. And that's why I think they lowered the power level of this set. But unfortunately, you know, when people are so used to good power and Standard sets, there is going to be a bit of an offset for players. They're just not going to be interested in getting these cards to put in their decks because they just don't see them as that powerful. And sure, if it had a good land cycle, you could be like, well, the you know, power level doesn't matter. If it's a good land, it's a good land. You need it in your deck. There's no good land cycle in Dungeons & Dragons either. Yes, they have rare lands, but they don't actually have a land cycle of dual lands or tri-lands or anything like that. So not very good. That's a warning sign as well. So not exciting, and the market is definitely reacting to it right now. The sales are down. When I went to my local game store, I asked them how the set was doing. They said it was doing okay, but compared to Modern Horizons 2, he called it a bonanza, the shopkeeper. So yeah, not quite a bonanza. Modern Horizons 2 was a very good set, very, very powerful set, and that's another problem. When you have a set like Modern Horizons 2, which has fetch lands and other really powerful cards that get you excited to play the game, and then a month later, like way too quick by the way, like especially considering both of them had collector booster boxes, talk about wallet fatigue, you have Dungeons and Dragons, which is a set that isn't powerful and has cards that, you know, quite frankly, aren't really going to make it into much decks. There's a few cards here and there that are good enough to be competitive, and obviously you can be a casual player, competitive player, but at the end of the day, a lot of the competitive cards are the ones that go up in price. And if you don't have a lot of competitive cards in that set, people are just not going to be interested in it, especially if you're a competitive player. And if you're an investor, you want good returns on your investment. And honestly, I would not suggest buying this product if you are looking to invest, at least not right now. Maybe wait for it to bottom out. But you know what? We could all be surprised and see Wizards of the Coast cut the supply short, and then, you know, have the printing of the sets get cut early, the supply, because that's happened before, and we could see that actually stabilize the price. Right now, it's kind of in a free fall for its EV, and I think it's going to go even lower. Right now, like $56 for TCG low, to me seems pretty high. I was thinking more closer to the lines of $45 for its low price. You know, it's not an exciting set to open up, and unfortunately, they're going to have to reap what they sow. So it really hinges on the backs of Innistrad, Werewolves, and Vampires. Oof, you know, that set is really going to have to be a home run for Wizards of the Coast to keep players excited about the game, especially Standard. I think it's great that they're going back to Innistrad. That's one of the most nostalgic sets, and I think that it could get players who maybe fell out of the game. You know, if they hear that Innistrad is going to be another plane they're going to reintroduce into the game, people might get excited. They might actually get a new influx of players, and I want the game to grow. You know, I buy every set, even if I'm not happy with the product or the set, partially because I need to open it on this channel, but also because I love the game and I want to continue to see it do well. So that's why when I see sets like Dungeons & Dragons, it upsets me because, you know, which wasn't received well. I think it just wasn't. It wasn't a lot of power level there. You know, some of the art was not very good. So yeah, that's kind of where I want to leave it off. I could keep going on ranting, but eventually I'm going to find myself back at, you know, point number 1, and that's where I don't want to keep going into rotation. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and if you enjoy my content, hit that subscribe button. Yes, subscribe, not subscribe. There is a B in that word. Also, the bell notification, so my videos actually do show up in your box. That way you will be notified of future uploads. And with that being said, please, you know, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Being a patron will help me produce more market movers and add to the funds that I will use for my random buys, and also to my coffee fund, because I drink a lot of coffee for these videos. And here you can see a link below in the description that will give you all the tiers and what you get in each tier. So I hope you guys click and think about joining. And with that, I'll see you next video. Think about supporting the channel in that way. If not, subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I will see you again in the next video.